In this lecture, I would talk about the Iliad and I would primarily discuss heroism. As you can see from the screen that there are certain essay topics that I have suggested for your exam, and if you study these six things, in fact three things are there. One is structure. There are questions which can come from the structure, and then there are questions which may focus on the themes, and there are questions, the third variety, may focus on the characters. So if you study these three things, structure, themes and characters, or these six smaller elements under these themes, under these larger elements, you would be able to handle all kinds of questions in the exam. And since the Iliad is not for detailed study as per your syllabus, as per the Kazi Nazrul University syllabus, we can make this assumption that probably questions might focus on the themes and characters. And if you cover these two themes, I think it won't be very difficult to have any kind of questions, because whatever they are going to ask you, whatever the questions can be asked, means there can be several types of questions which can be asked from the Iliad. But if you cover these four topics, heroism, war, Achilles, and the gods and goddesses, if you cover these four topics and if you study them very thoroughly, I don't think there would be any problem in dealing with any kind of questions in the exam, right? So ultimately you have to deal with all these four elements, and probably questions based on structure would not be there, because as I am assuming, I am making an informed guess that since it is not for detailed study, right? But I would suggest that you also prepare questions on structure, because these are going to help you write any kind of questions. So if you, to be on the safer side, you just read all these three elements: structure, themes and characters, right? So let's begin with the theme of heroism. Hector, Achilles and the other heroes, Trojan and Achaean, are conceived as heroes first and Trojans or Achaeans next. This is the most fundamental point that you need to understand, that they do not belong, they definitely belong to a particular side, and the two sides are fighting. One is the Trojan side, another is the Achaean side. But Achilles, Hector, they are basically heroes. Okay, they are basically war heroes. And next, their identity, in the identity category, they are found to be Achaean or Trojan. So Achaeans are superior in might, and in this sense, the poem is, as later Greeks were to take it, an expression of triumphant Hellenism. But more fundamentally, it is an expression of a heroic ideology, which is served impartially by Achaeans and Trojans alike. So don't think that it's about the Greeks, it's about the Trojans. It's basically about the heroes. Okay. And it presents a heroic ideology, and we'll try to understand this heroic ideology. And this basis of this heroic ideology is a logical change which links four things: death, glory, art, and immortality. Death, glory, art, and immortality. So death is inescapable and final. Therefore, life is of irreplaceable value. And there are certain acts, especially those that risk life or incur death, can achieve the glory that outlives finite life, so long as they are perpetuated in art. So you can find the connection. Immortality, that means you outlive, through your name you stay, through your glory you stay forever. And what is the medium which may make you immortal? It's not the power of gods, but it's the power of art, right? So life is definitely precious. Someone who risks life would be a hero, and Someone would risk life or incur death would definitely have glory, achieve glory, and that glory would enable that person to outlive the finite life. So this is the equation. And how can people remember that hero? Through art. Art would perpetuate the glory achieved by the hero. So, and gods even encourage this process. So, this ideology was not invented for the Iliad. In part, it must have been worked out centuries before, as is clear from parallels in other Indo-European literary traditions, like the Germanic, and from the evident antiquity of the actual Homeric phrase for immortal glory, kleos aptheton. I do not know the actual pronunciation of this because it's a Greek word and I am completely unknown to Greek. Uh, but the meaning is immortal glory, which is a Homeric phrase. And this importance of the chain, death, glory, art, and immortality, gets underscored in several occasions. So here are certain examples which would help you. First of all, in book 12, you can see line number is given. Whatever text you follow, you may find this particular example. When Sarpedon tells Glaucus of death and glory, and then when Achilles in book 9, 189, line number, Achilles sings the Cleon Adron, and then when Helen, perpetuator of the war in her tapestry, she makes a tapestry of war in book 3, and then suggests that Zeus himself has engineered her affair with Paris. So she suggests that Zeus has been doing all the things so that in time to come we may be a poet's theme for men for of the future. So, and this is happening in book 4, line 357, 358. So Helen, as if is trying to declare that there is a clear-cut connection between art and glory and heroism and death. So above all, in two speeches by Achilles, you find the connection very clear. The connection is very clear between death, among death, glory, art, and immortality. And what are those two speeches? First is when Odysseus, in the embassy scene, Achilles talks to Odysseus. Agamemnon sends an embassy of kings, where Odysseus is one of them, and they try to convince Achilles to get back to war. And there Achilles says, a man can have many things. Achilles tells Odysseus, a man can have trophies and spoils. What he cannot have is his life. Once it has left his body, my mother, the goddess Thetis, that is Achilles' mother, tells me I have two destinies. If I stay here, waging war on Troy, my hope of home is lost, but I win immortal glory. If I get back home to my own land, fine glory is lost, but my life will be long. So this is happening in book 9 when Achilles is proclaiming that my mother told me that if I stay, if I do not participate, and this happened before the war took place. And now Achilles in book 9 is uttering these things. So we can get idea of the story, which the background story of Iliad, when Achilles was not participating in the battle in the war, and before that he had to decide whether he is going to participate or not. And his mother, who was a goddess who could see future, she told him that if you participate in war, you may achieve glory, you may achieve immortal glory, but your life would be very, very short. But if you stay back, if you don't go to participate in war, then your life might be very long, but you won't find glory or immortal glory. And then there is this second speech which looks back to the first, and it comes when Achilles laments the death of Patroclus. Patroclus gets killed by Hector, and Hector thinks it is Achilles. And what happens? Achilles withdraws from battle, from the war, because he has a problem with Agamemnon. You can read the background story behind it. And then what happened? Seeing this, Patroclus wears the armor of Achilles, dons the armor of Achilles, and joins the battle, joins the war. And this actually makes the Greeks very enthusiastic, and they also redouble the attack upon the Trojans. And the Trojans get scared, but then Hector, who was leading the Trojans, find a one-to-one combat with Patroclus, assuming himself to be Achilles, and then Patroclus gets killed in the hands of Hector. And this infuriates Achilles, and he rejoins the battle. And first he kills Hector in a brutal manner, and then he mutilates the body of Hector. And then after that, Priam goes to Achilles in a secret manner at night, and then he asks for the body of Hector. Now that is another scene which I may talk about in the subsequent lectures. But this is the idea. So when Achilles finds that Patroclus, his cousin, has died, he proclaims uh, that he swears vengeance on Hector, and that Thetis says is a fateful decision, for Achilles' own death is destined to follow straight after Hector. So if you kill Hector, you would not live long. This also was proclaimed by Thetis, Achilles' mother. So Achilles' response is quite clear, where he says, "Then let me die at once, for not even mighty Heracles escaped death. So too shall I be laid in death. Now let me win fine glory." And he chooses fine glory over longer life. So Achilles' decision to opt for perpetual glory instead of a modest perpetuation of life duly gives the Iliad its own poetic theme. It serves also to sum up the relationship between the glory and the honor. So you have glory, you have the honor, and there is a clear-cut distinction, right? So there is a central conflict at the heart of the theme of heroism. One is team, and the other is kleos. Team, T-I-M-E, written in this fashion. Please do not forget to write this in this manner, which means honor is primarily the esteem due to a man from his contemporaries in respect of his status. So this is honor, while kleos or glory is what he wins beyond his lifetime in return for special achievement. So everyone is going to respect Achilles for being a king. So he is a king, so everyone is going to respect him. He's an esteemed warrior, so everyone is going to respect him, honor him. So that is the honor that he already has in this life. But when he risks his life, he achieves kleos. So this you have to very clearly understand and write when it comes to the theme of heroism. And Achilles withdraws from the fighting because of an affront to his time, this or team. This is honor, right? So he has a problem with Agamemnon because he thinks that Agamemnon has dishonored him, and then he returns to win kleos. So this is the idea. So heroes in the Iliad are not like us. We look up to them as Achilles looks to Heracles. They are sometimes inhuman, they are sometimes animalistic, they are sometimes elemental, wind, fire, sometimes superhuman. Right? So they change their stature. The Trojans might be fighting for a communal cause, and the Achaeans may be fighting to avenge a national disgrace. But for the most part, the heroes on both sides fight as individuals in pursuit of individual glory, and hence the prominence given to the decisive moment of an individual's death. It is the moment when the final allocation of glory is made. So don't think that Achilles is fighting to win Helen for Menelaus. Achilles is fighting basically to win immortal glory. So heroic ideology presupposes human mortality, and the importance of this ideology to the poem helps to explain Homer's suppression of those traditional beliefs that offered some promise of immortal life. So Chthonic religion, and in particular the hero cult, tries to glorify this ideology. And it is significant that outside epic poetry, the word heroes, which is Homer's word for hero, means an immortal man, a dead man supposed to be superhuman and worshipped as such. So heroes in the Iliad means a living man, a great warrior in search of timeless chaos. The connection with immortality is implicit but revealingly different. So the next would be war, which we discussed in the next lecture. Thank you for watching.